Yeah. Get it out, buddy.
What if they go, give me your money?
All right, so we go over two variations of pistol draw from the appendix. This can also be from an outside the waistband type holster where the pistol is actually exposed. They would be a little bit faster, I guess, depending on which one they're most comfortable with. But you're either doing a two-hand draw or you're doing a press, maybe pushing with the elbow and doing a one-hand draw. There. So on the two-hand draw, all we're trying to do is as he's drawing, is both hands are going to be trapped, and then I circle directly around. At this moment here, I'm either stripping his hand off of that so that I can actually draw and then do other things with it. You're welcome.
Thank
you. You'll notice that when I did that, my hands went right on top. I'm trying to stop him from clearing the holster, okay? And because he has a holster here, there is a lot of clearance for this before it gets turned towards. My hands are placed on top of both at the same time because technically I don't know if he's a right-handed or left-handed shooter. And if you just naturally assume and it's the opposite, you will be directly in front of the pistol. So both hands go here as I put pressure down. Then my elbow, wherever I understand, so he's right-handed, I can feel that. I'm going to use my left arm to clear and get behind as I'm pinning this into his holster. I use my shoulder to kind of pop and get directly behind. I use joint manipulation to strip this out, or I can transition to something like my knife and then start cutting as I cut through his arm, strip that out, take him down, and then start working into something there. So the idea is to change your positioning through movement. You also stopping him from clearing that pistol. If you are up close and what happens is he's trying to create distance by hitting you, right? I'm going to press that directly away. Couple ways to do this. You can try to do the, as it's the stopping and then going here. You can also, as it's hitting, move under it and then step through. It just depends on your proficiency, where your hands are as that's happening, if there's contact. If there's contact, you're not going to be able to just immediately drive there. So what I'm not doing is I'm not pushing across. I'm kind of coming under here, and then I get to that point. Anytime that the pistol draws out, so it comes up, my hand is right on top of the slide, hoping that I don't get shot in the foot as I start to try to circle around and stay out from the front of the muzzle, okay? Obviously, this is actually the more difficult technique to deal with because his arm is extended here. My contact is at a distance. I need to be able to do a shot properly. If he uses his elbow, it's actually a lot easier to get around. It's very difficult for him to actually hit me hard enough to where he's not exposing. Like even if he's trying to hit here, this is actually a real easy push. And so I'm not moving my feet at that point. When he tries to do that, me moving off to the side is going to be extremely easy. I have asked all sorts of instructors how that works, where you're not exposing your back. And I've gotten all sorts of responses that don't seem to really add up. But the thing is that a lot of times they go, well, we're not really working against a wrestler or whatever. Any type of skill level in this type of environment, you know that getting to the backside of someone is going to be optimal, especially if that person has a weapon. So unless you're tall enough and obviously I'm real short, so if I'm dealing with somebody 6'4", maybe they could hit me with an elbow where they're long enough away that I wouldn't be able to slip around the side. But the thing is that as soon as he's trying to make contact, I'm just going here. Obviously, I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to be like this, trying to go directly for that. I'm sure that there's an answer for that, but the idea is that we are just showing why you would do alternate pistol draws. All right, so it's not really talking bad about any of these. Actually, both of those will work when done in the proper context. It's just that they are also exposing you to bad things there. So if you're going to strip a pistol from somebody's hands, you need to be able to do it while they're drawing, because obviously that's going to be the altercation. Appendix carry is a highly prevalent one. The only other difference, if it was on his hip, is that you're reaching around more. I tend to find that I can, if it was on his hip here, I tend to find that as I'm shadowing this hand, I grab more with my other hand because it feeds all the way back here more, and then in turn it's easier to work this. When you try to strip the pistol out of a holster, and we'll practice this, you're going to have to cut his hip so that you draw, so that the pistol is drawn as a holster works. So like there's a retention piece where you should be drawing at the angle that he would draw. So if you're behind them, you have to cant their hips so that that draw happens properly. But we're going to show you that right after this. But this is if I can stop him from actually pulling the pistol out from the holster. And then what happens is we talk about, well, what happens if he does clear? Because you're not going to have time to slip directly around. All right, so hope you're enjoying the series. If you're enjoying this video, I want to take a second to talk about EliteU.com, where you'll be able to find early access to all of our YouTube content, as well as exclusive interviews and access to mentors. And now back to the video. So it's going to clear the holster this time, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. He does a two-hand draw, but he clears it directly out. What I'm going to do is try to stay to the outside, and I'm pinning the pistol directly towards him, especially pointing towards his groin. And now what happens is I'll just roll the pistol towards his face this way. That'll strip the pistol out, and a lot of times clear that. I'm doing a lot of stuff for the camera angle here. Essentially what would happen is if I didn't care about that, I would be here. Once I realized that it's cleared the holster, I wouldn't be going to the right where I normally do. I would go left to stay behind the pistol itself. If you're really good, you can drop the magazine first. He can fire the round, and then in turn you don't have to strip the pistol because, well, there's no ammo left. Completely by accident. All right, so once again, we're here. As he's drawing that in, I'm holding pressure, and then I'm pointing this here. I realize that it is out of the holster, so I'm going to move to the side, point it towards their face, which spins it inside their hand, okay? And we're there. All right, so last thing, he's drawing that directly in. My head's going here. What I try to do, so this is his center line, right? My head needs to be on this side when I'm pinning. So now what happens is both arms or both hands are on the pistol itself here. If my head is on this side, he can use the arm to kind of flare that out, and I'm going to lose leverage, right? So what happens is, and it doesn't matter if I'm going to clear out and go this way, I do the same thing. So as he's drawing here, my head is on that side of the center line as I work. He didn't get to clear that all the way out, so I can work in. If he does clear that, I stay here, and I'm just holding pressure. So obviously that comes from a wrestling background or jiu-jitsu background, where I understand that if my head is under here, he can't use it to push my head across. So like if I'm like this, it's a lot harder for him to defend this side. Whereas if my head is here, his head can actually push me, and then he can also use this to kind of frame and then start clearing away. These are all things that you would do if you were him. And since you know that, you're just trying to limit what he has the ability to do. All right, so these are not guaranteed techniques, but they do hold decent principles. They get close to the weapon system. They isolate the hands by themselves. They cause structural damage so that even if his hand clears away, it doesn't have the ability to work the pistol. And so that's basically what we cover. And then what we do is we counter these techniques, and that will be a different class. All right, so that'll be the last technique that I go over. Once again, I hope you're enjoying the series, and these are just pistol takeaways off of draws and when it's directly in front of you. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed that content, we have more videos over here for you to check out. For those of you looking to enhance your knowledge, make sure that you go over to eliteu.com, where you will have early release of YouTube videos and access to exclusive content. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.